Channa, welcome. We're here after 3 years.
Well, finally, after almost 3 years of working on what is essentially the last event that we should have had 2 years ago of the Bawa 100
Yes.
event, we now have It's Essential to Be There, an exhibition organized by Shayari, who's the curator of collections at the Geoffrey Bawa Trust, and of course all the wonderful people who have helped us put this together. So essential to be there, Shayari, I mean, could you explain to us what you were thinking when you picked that particular quote?
So as you say, the title comes from a quote by Bawa on this idea of having to be at a site, to be there in order to design. And then curiously, when we work in the archives, what we found is that idea of there is nuanced and it's informed by other ideas.
Yes, so there becomes topography, there can become
Exactly.
society, there can become economies, and there can become so many different things, right?
And that's all there in that word that he's using and the way what he brings to a site when he's designing.
Okay,
For
and that's
example.
kind of in these maps. I mean, you can almost see that there are several theres here.
Yes.
Either you're there at the center of the world, of the Indian
is
Ocean,
Colombo.
which is Colombo and Sri Lanka, or there is the there of Sri Lanka itself with its sort of low-lying plains and the hills in the middle, or there would be the there of your route to Lunuganga. And here, 3 different maps showing different stories. So perhaps the there was also a story that Geoffrey was inventing to create the work that he made.
I think it was. I think that the drawing is a choice of what information do you put and what stories do you put. And if you look at
And
these
so
maps,
look at this, and you see, this is kind of almost from the 17th century. You have
Yeah.
this one with a little train on it. So he
Yeah.
might be telling someone, perhaps you should take the train. And this one has a whole lot of old ships and things, which is
and yet
another
none of
story.
these will help you find Lunuganga.
Of course, and I remember that. I mean, people used to be given this occasionally, and all of them got lost. And I think people still get lost coming to Lunuganga.
But that's part of it,
That's
isn't
part of Lunuganga. I mean, the mystery of Lunuganga is really still very much a part of it, which of course is beautifully captured in this film that we have at the entrance,
Yes,
done by Clara Croft. And of course, the story begins with this wonderful letter where I think, I don't know where you found this, but it's such a beautiful letter about Geoffrey deciding on a there,
Yes.
and that there would finally be Sri Lanka. And he
Yes.
comes back a few months, literally,
1 month.
one month before independence. And there he is writing his story to his friend Jean Chamberlain about how he found and started Lunuganga, the place where he sort of made his there, his
Yes.
personal there.
Absolutely, and this letter is from a series of materials in the archives about the book Lunuganga, but it's also that process of how do you make a place? Is it about shifting earth? Is it about creating views? And I actually think that brings us right to this object, which I know you have a story.
Yeah, this I think is interesting because we are looking at a there which was never there and would never be there. But it was sort of doodling with a little cardboard model while we were designing Kandalama and thinking about staircases, thinking about ways to get from different level to another level. And I remember making this little model late into the evening with a cup, with an arak and ice in our hands. And then Geoffrey suddenly saying, oh, let's have this made of metal. And he called one of the metal workers and said, let's do this. And in many ways, this was, we eventually gave it to Kandalama. And it was Geoffrey's sort of gift. It's probably the only known sculpture made by Geoffrey. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I feel proud to be part of it, but it's quite amazing that it's still there almost 30 years later.
And I think it tells the whole story of moving through, of looking out, of selected views. It's got all of that in this one maquette.
Exactly, and I think it's really something very special
I think
that
so
it's
too.
still treasured by the hotel and kept on one of those wonderful places in it.